All right, welcome to week one of the iRacing INDYCAR series in 2024. It's back after a long stint away. I won't claim to be back. I come and go, it seems. Won't make any questions about that there. We're in the second split. The strength of field is around 3,200. So it's about 3,000. It's a little bit under my I rating. So looking to gain some points here. Qualified 5th on the grid. We're doing the pace lap right now. It's going to be an interesting race. I'll have to stop a handful of times. I'm going to be doing a little bit of fuel saving, trying to stretch that extra little bit of fuel. Right now I have 14 and a half laps left in the tank. Obviously we're doing this pace lap, but if I can push those to 15, that'll be really valuable. I don't notice too much of a difference between the alternate red walled tires and the primary black walled tires, so we'll see. I still just don't know where I'll end up on that. I am the farthest up the grid qualifying wise on the alternate tires. Tyson right behind me also on the alternate tires, and Pedro right next to him, so the full row behind us on alternate tires. So it'll be an interesting start, but I'm just going to take it easy on the start and see how this goes. It's a long race. It's a full-length race, similar to the actual IndyCar series. Got some weaving going on, so that's always something to look out for. Not expecting... We'll see how that goes. I always... I don't think too highly of weaving. That's not going to make the difference in this race, but at least they're towards the front of the grid rather than at the back. People are weaving in the back. You're not making up time because your tires have warmed up a tenth of a lap early because you weaved a few times before the race started. You're making up time by being smart and getting out of the wrecks that are inevitably going to happen. So I am fortunate that I was able to qualify far enough ahead here on the third row to hopefully stay out of an accident. But we're coming up to the start-finish here, and it will be interesting. I am more worried about cars behind me braking too late following a racing line instead of recognizing the cars in front of them as we head into the first set of corners coming out of that big turn one, and then just as we get into the braking, and then obviously going into the hairpin. After that, things should be pretty stable, so we'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead and bring the engine map down into map 1 so we get full power there. Map 8 was the pace lap setting, so you're burning less fuel. Just trying to save a little there, and we're getting ready to go racing. So
get ready, going green.
Just gonna try and stay close to the pack here, and we'll see how it goes. It's gonna be interesting. No matter what happens, it's going to be interesting.
Pace car is off.
All right, and they're off. All right, got to run on the right here. Incident behind already. We are just on the straight, so that's absolutely insane to me. All right. Oh, don't want to push anyone off track here. Okay, going for a defensive move. That's fine. They didn't go off track too much. We're up into 4th. That's not bad for a start, being in 5th. But Giovanni having a little bit better of a run out of the corner there, hopefully not going for a dive. 3/10 behind, I'm not expecting it, so I'm just going to stay in the racing line. Getting a little defensive here, that's a little early to be chopping that. I'm even braking early here. So, not one to lock up. Tires should be getting nice and warm and feeling confident now. Within the next 2 laps, they'll feel absolutely awesome. But Chad and Mark here battling is going to really play into my hand and let me potentially make a move. Yep, and huge mistake there by Mark locking up. They have absolutely lost Matt Taylor, who is now a second and a half ahead of both of them. It is it's unwise, in my opinion, to fight that hard this early. You want to go for a clear move, but track position in a 45 lap race on the first lap is not as critical. This is not an oval series, so unless you are absolutely going to be held up by someone, even though this can be a tricky track to pass folks on, that's not worth it. They've entirely lost the draft from Matt ever since the hairpin, so that's a little crazy. Matt's sitting pretty right now. It's looking really good for him, so now we just need to figure out how it goes. Mark there saying race is always won on the first lap. Exactly right. We'll see how this ends up playing out as time goes on and what the pace of Giovanni behind me is in comparison. Obviously, I'm on the alternate tires, so I should be a bit faster to start. I like to start on the alternates just to have a bit more grip those first few laps. I feel a lot safer getting out of situations, having the grippier tires, regardless of tire wear. But everyone else on the harder tires should have better pace later in the stint. Still braking early here, not pushing it. No need to, especially with how close Chad and Mark are. But I might need to burn one of my 10 push to passes, trying to get past Chad, or at least trying to get distance from Giovanni. It's going to be interesting what I can try and pull off with Giovanni behind. I don't want to tow Giovanni along with me, so I'll need a really good run onto the Ullman straight there. So we will see. 8/10, that's perfect to try and use push to pass to get ahead. I'll have to see how my exit is, coming onto this big straight, and I might want to pop a push to pass. Yeah, I think that's looking good. So let's get on the button. We're 1.5 tenths behind, so this should just let us pull right ahead even without the draft. Didn't even have the draft to pull ahead, so now just need to hold inside as we go through, so braking a little later, able to get back onto the racing line rather than having to hold inside and go too wide there. Would be way too early and too dangerous. I would have backed out if Chad had pushed it, but I'm glad that they didn't. That could have gone quite poorly for me, or for both of us. And I was the one kind of forcing the matter there. So thank you, Chad. Really appreciate it. And I'm sure he'll be getting past me at some point, as my tires have a ton of grip in them right now, and we're only a few laps away from them starting to fade away. But now I just want to try and get close to Mark here. Giovanni, the second one, using push to pass, who has fallen back to 6th place there, so that's interesting. Starting to brake a little later into the hairpin. And let's get through it. There we go. All right, perfect. Missed shift there. That's something doesn't happen too often with this wheel, but I'm sure you'll hear me complain about it from time to time. All right, getting through there just fine. There we go. All right, 6/10. Got Taylor, or Tyson, sorry, complaining about Giovanni pushing them off track behind, so I'll keep that in mind as Giovanni comes up and races with us. I haven't seen anything too crazy, but you want to keep those things in mind as you're racing with people. How much should you battle with them? How risky is it to go side by side into a corner, to go for a pass? Are they going to give you the room? Are they going to defend too aggressively? And in both of your races, where is that going to end up? So good news now, on that lap, we're making up time on the leader and 2nd place. But again, I am on these softer tires. That is expected purely based off the amount of grip that I have compared to them. So I don't expect it to last. I need to make these laps really count. So I should probably take a breath. This is a long race. I don't intend this to be an hour-and-a-half video, but you know the duration of the video more than I do at this point in my present. So maybe it is, but as things get to be less eventful, I think I'll just stop talking if I can and let the race play out, and then just pop back in, and I'll try and edit that in the edit it afterwards. I don't know what I was trying to say, but going to the hairpin there, wanted to really concentrate on braking there. So I should, based on current lap times, I should be able to get past Mark in about 3 laps here, 2.9 laps. I'm not expecting that to stick. What I want to do right now is be able to get a little bit of draft off Mark. That'll help me save some fuel as well, but if I just keep pushing these tires too hard, that's not going to be very beneficial, and I'm losing some time to Chad behind, so that's not great. I do want to keep that gap. They're about similar right now. All right.
Giovanni is a little dangerous, man.
And Tyson saying again that Giovanni is a bit dangerous. Giovanni's still in 6th. Matthias back there in
Make
7th, right
contact with
behind him.
the
They're
right
getting
for
really
another
close, about
hand
3/10 away
wood
from each
time.
other. Keeping some time. Oh no, Chad's getting time on me now. So let's go ahead and I'll see you as things get a bit more exciting. You know, we're about 9/10 front and back. If someone gets within, you know, half a second, we'll probably bring it back and keep talking. But see you after the jump.
There you go. I'll understand that.
The leader is running. 42.
Okay, so we are on lap 7. I have closed the gap a bit here to Mark. I have not done really any fuel saving yet, so I could save a little bit out of this or just push it. Oh, no, no, no!
Clear.
Sorry, bud. I tried to slow down there. Oh, that's a bummer.
Your front wing is damaged.
I've got some wing damage. I need to make a decision if I go in. I've got 8 laps to go. Mark's race is absolutely over. Let's see how this goes driving this out. I am uncertain about that. Man, I feel terrible about that. I wish I could have slowed down more and not impacted his race as much. I'm certainly going to lose some time, so I am going to need to pit early. The question is going to be how early and what is this wing damage doing. So I'm losing a little bit of grip. Yep, all over the place. Can I push this for 7 more laps? All right, so let's try and mitigate this. All right, let's push the brake balance back a bit. That's going to get me a little bit more rotation. The front is stiff. The rear is not on the anti-roll bars. I'm going to want to flip that so I get a little bit more roll in the front, a little bit more sliding or lack of rotation in the rear because this is just not coming around. I'm losing a lot of time. 3 seconds. Wow, I might be at the point where I want to pit early, but let's do some roll bar adjustments first and just see where this goes as we keep pushing it around. Mark's lock up there. Gosh, I'll have to watch that in the replay. Just see what happened and what I could have done differently to try and avoid that, because that is just unfortunate.
You're in second position right now.
Chad absolutely going to be able to get by
Car on
here,
your
so
right.
let's just let him not fight too hard there. There's very little I can do without, with this wing damage, rather, so without going into the pits and getting a new wing, but I don't want to cause an extra pit. I've already got a pit 3 times. I need 190 liters of fuel. I can put 70 in, so 140 plus 50 liters. I'm going to need to be at 20 liters at a minimum to be able to make that work. Okay, so that's from having a little bit too stiff of a rear anti-roll bar and my brake balance, but let's go ahead and let
Clear on the left.
Matthias by here. And let's go ahead and make the rear not quite as stiff. Let's just try and keep getting around. I am losing 3 seconds a lap, so if I got 7 laps, is an extra pit gonna hurt me? Pit loses me about 26 seconds, 10 laps. It's gonna make, well, that's a full tank. So this is where it's very helpful to have a crew chief in the car and not run this crap solo trying to drive and figure out when the right time to pit is. You know, you got someone else there running the math for you. So I did lose some time all on my own there. And I'm actually, you know, 6 seconds down in total with that spin. I'm gonna just keep pushing it. I'm gonna probably lose a few more positions and we'll have to fight back, but I think that's okay from where we are. Definitely gonna lose 5 seconds in the pit getting the wing changed. But we're back in 5th. This is where we started. There's a huge gap up to where we could have been fighting for 3rd place or being in 3rd place. The strategy has completely changed, but we're just gonna have to see how it goes. Where is Mark? Was Mark able to make it back out? Might be in the pits, and I can only see up to 15th on my position tracker. And obviously only to 9th here on my relative position tracker, but I guess the standings. So I'm not losing a ton of time. I think that I've compensated for the wing damage pretty well, and I'm just going to have to try and fight it back elsewhere, but I am having to slow down a lot more than I would like to in these corners. We're going to be switching to the hard tires after this, so that'll change up driving a bit. Maybe it's good that I'm getting this feeling now of like having the front kind of completely gone coming into corners, but kind of maintaining my pace to everyone around me at this point, so that's good. I've gotten more comfortable with it. God, I want it to be a lot faster. I am not. I don't know if it's worth it to like jump on push to pass at this point and try and just get some extra speed. The only thing that would help with is if Pedro in the 20 car behind is going to make enough time that a push to pass would help keep me from needing to let him by and potentially lose more time. Otherwise, I think I'd rather have the push to pass, get that extra power in the car a little bit later. Just make sure that's kind of in the tank quite literally. So we've got 5 laps of fuel left. I'll have to make a decision if I'm going to pit in 4 or 5, but that's just going to take understanding how the race is progressing and how I am remaining comfortable relative to the other cars on track at my current pace. Pedro's likely to catch me before I pit. Looks like CJ White and Tom Campbell will catch me, but not before I pit at current pace. So with that, I think, we'll chat as I'm coming into the pits. So see you then. All right, so 3 laps of fuel left in the tank right now. I'm pitting in 1 or 2 laps. Pedro is 5.7 tenths behind me. It's a weird way to say it. Pedro's about 6 tenths behind me. Getting pretty close. I'm a little bit faster getting on the gas out of the hairpin. He's defending against CJ White right behind him. Looks like he had a really rough start there. They're within a tenth of each other behind, so that's going to buy me some extra time. I thought there would be some strategy and needing to be defensive, but CJ getting the inside there, putting some moves on Pedro. They have both used 6 push-to-passes. There is a lot of racing left to do, and that, again, becomes an advantage and why I wanted to keep the 9 push-to-passes I have remaining. So now there's quite the gap between us. I think I can keep that until I enter the pits in a lap or 2, so that would be helpful. CJ obviously going to get a run on me through here. Probably good. Ooh, drank too much of the sparkling water. The bubbles are quite big on the Polar. Okay, but 8 tenths coming into sunset. We're going to come around here. CJ likely to bring a lot more speed because CJ's wing is not broken. CJ was a little aggressive there on Pedro. It was hard to tell. I was looking in my mirror. But CJ did make the pass. Pedro did get a poor run out of the hairpin, so that could have been it. Running off track a little there. I just don't want CJ to dive because CJ is definitely making time up, and there are a lot of folks behind CJ. So if I have to let anyone by, I'm basically letting a whole line of cars by, which makes me want to stay ahead this lap and go into the, I think I'll pit this lap and just try and keep CJ behind, and I might burn a push to pass on the back straight just to keep that pace. Again, I'm getting a little bit more gas out of the hairpin than everyone else, so I am making time up on that corner exit, but there are too many medium speed, high speed corners kind of remaining in the lap for me to expect to stay behind them, and with a half a second gap back, I do expect CJ to be fighting me going into sunset probably. So let's make sure I can click my button that lets everyone know I am going to be entering the pits. Let's make this corner without losing too much time. Let's get on the push to pass. CJ's going to push to pass as well. I'm going to hold the inside, and I'm going to say that I am pitting in. So I need to remain on the inside. I need everyone else to take the outside so that I'm not losing too much time here getting into the pits. So hold the inside. Here's the pits. CJ real close there. All right, on the brakes. Let's get slowed down. A little early, but that's fine. Okay, everyone going by. So in lap, decent. I didn't lose a ton of time fighting everyone, but I am concerned about getting these next few laps because everyone else is going to pit as quick as possible. So I'm probably going to burn a push to pass in the next lap.
Right here.
Okay, let's get the little
All the damage is repaired.
little off. Okay, 5 seconds for required repairs. That's just the wing. You can see kind of damage there on the left.
Move it,
There
move
we
it.
go. Oh, it's not damage. That's just what it looks like. All right, so back out. We're on the harder tire compound. I need 130 liters to finish, so that's perfect. I can take 65 liters for the next 2 pit stops, but that does mean I'm going to need a full pit stop. Fuel saving at this point is not going to save me a ton of time. There'll be a little bit, so we'll see where we're at. I think at this point, at least for the next 5 laps or so, probably 2, given fuel usage, I need to push really, really hard to try and stay ahead of CJ, Pedro, everyone who was stacked up behind me. I don't want to get caught in that battle, or at a minimum, I'd like to be at the front of that battle and hope that I can pull ahead because my pace was faster than theirs
Sitting here, Matthias.
previously, and we were all on similar tires. So hopefully that's the case. There goes Matt Taylor into the pits. So it's great. Well, I didn't see what my gap to Matt was at the start of the race, or at the start of his entrance to the pits. But at this point, I'm just pushing as hard as I can. I want to maintain a solid position. I was in 6th or 5th there at the end of that stint, and I need to adjust the anti-roll bar and the brake balance. So let's get on the straight here. All right, let's burn a push to pass. Let's stiffen, soften the rear, and not gonna push the front as much, and then we're gonna push the brake balance forward. All right, so everyone's getting into the pits. Might be still a little too stiff of a rear, especially for sunset there. So let's bring the rear down to the softest it'll go at 1. All right, so CJ is coming out of the pits here. They were battling, so let's see where they are. CJ's right behind us. Okay, so we did keep the gap there, which is going to be important. What tires? CJ's also on the primary tires, the harder tire compound, so that's great. CJ was not switching to staying on the reds, the alternate tire compound, which is more grippy. So I've got 1 more lap of heat in these tires. That should help. I really need to try and push it, see if I can break some of this draft to CJ behind, and hopefully, from a competitive standpoint, CJ gets in battles with those behind him. I remain at the front of kind of that pack, and I can try and pull away. If CJ gets too close and we are battling, that becomes an issue for me. We're both going to slow down. Battle's always slow. Everyone down, you have to take either a defensive line, like you're simply losing time because you did get past and you can't drive through other cars. So we'll see where this goes. CJ maintaining a close pace, and the draft is going to be hard to lose, especially if CJ is maintaining that pace through the medium speed and high speed corners here. So CJ with 3 push to passes remaining to my 7. So that's the only thing I really have in my pocket here. Incident behind. Ooh, Tom Campbell with a wreck behind, it seems. That's unfortunate. But CJ maintaining that pace, so let's see how this lap goes. Ooh, getting on the brakes a little late there. I'm pushing pretty hard. Is this car going into the pits? No, they are not. So, oh yeah, Ellis Spice was right up in front of us. So it's going to be interesting. Probably going to be upright with them going into the hairpin. So let's see how that plays out, because that's going to make things really, really interesting with CJ behind us. And everyone on those primary tires now. Okay, let's just get on the gas. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Ellis. That was fantastic. Letting both CJ and I by without impeding our race at all. That is an awesome car that is a lap down, continuing to put up laps. Good on ya, Ellis. All right, let's get through here. Let's get on the gas and out. Not as quickly as I would have wanted. CJ gaining some time on me there. Not going to be enough to get a pass through here. But again, I want to break that gap, and I also want to make up time on the folks up in front. CJ able to get in the brakes a lot later than I am through there. That is... Maybe I'm just not pushing as hard because I was driving so many laps with a few, with my wing a bit damaged, but that makes me have to consider, what do I do with CJ behind? Is it faster to let CJ ahead? There are plenty of laps still remaining. Is CJ going to be able to put up a better lap here? I didn't make any wing adjustments going into the pits. CJ may have more grip there. CJ losing a lot of time with Sebastian right behind them on the push to pass. So he's going to make up time on me. He's going to bring Sebastian up. I need to try and close that gap because he just made up a handful of tenths by using that push to pass. I likely should have used mine in reaction just to try and break that draft. But it's still early. I did not want to really burn that yet. So about a half a second splitting all of us at this point. So we'll see how this goes. Let's just try and keep the pace up. I guess a little too early there and a little too hard there, but trying to put up some good laps. Sebastian and CJ going to be battling. Sebastian on the push to pass, so he's going to try and make it too wide into the hairpin. This is my opportunity to try and pull ahead, so I'm going to brake a little late. A little too late there, just by a hair. Sebastian making the move. Sebastian on the alternate tire, so that makes sense, like wanting to make that dive, and putting the pressure on CJ. So I want to try and just remain ahead. If Sebastian's on the alternate tire, more grippy at this point, not really going to be much of a gap between us in terms of pace. So I want to still just try and get further away from CJ. You can see how much time I've gained on CJ simply from that battle with Sebastian. So if Sebastian's going to get past me, which I expect them to do, I want there to be a large gap to CJ behind or make it easier. So Sebastian might actually get ahead here coming into turn 1, coming into the turn 2 and 3 complex. That might keep CJ out of my draft range, which will be fantastic because Sebastian's should gain a ton of time on me just from having more grip on those tires there. Yep. Oh, where are you going, bud? Why don't you take the inside? Go ahead. You got it. Let's slow down a little. Let Sebastian have it and just follow them right through. There we go. Lost about 5/10. CJ, about the same distance as CJ as we were. So not a ton of time gained there. Let's see what we can do. Pushing on ahead. So again, I'm going to want to keep that draft with Sebastian, but Sebastian's likely to pull away. 5/10 is quite a bit, and I'm going to switch back to the alternate tires for the next pit stop. I'm going to fill the tank with fuel, probably just under fuel on that final stint. I may make a decision to go just a little bit less on fuel, but there we go. Alternate tires, let's go. We got a handful of laps before we're getting into the pit, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, CJ lost a lot of time. I'm not quite sure where I was paying attention to the car in front and getting my pit stop ready for later, but a second and a half is quite the gap. Matthias up in front of us, we are gaining on them slightly, so that's good. We do want to get that position back if we can. I would love to finish this on the podium, but Tyson is in third right now, 7 seconds ahead. That's a lot of time to make up, even though there's a lot of racing left to do. So 10 laps left in the tank. Let's see what we can do here. Sebastian still pulling away over that whole lap. Okay, try and just bring it through here. Stay on the grippy part of the track. Stay in the draft. 8/10, 9/10 to Sebastian is quite a bit. It says I'm going to pass Sebastian in 4 laps. Okay, there we go. It's about even. Let's say that doesn't sound accurate. That must have been including Sebastian's in-lap from the previous stint. That would have really thrown things off because Sebastian is much faster. I'm not going to catch them, and there's not enough lap data on the tire degradation for that to assume that I'm going to pass Sebastian. Okay, now 4 laps. I don't buy it, but we'll see what happens. I am going to, again, just try and stay close to Sebastian. So going a little deep there in the hairpin, at least for how I have the car set up, how I like to drive that line. So gaining some time on folks here, gaining some time on my fast lap, but draft will do that. It'll remove a lot of that air you've got to push out of the way, but also reduce some of the downforce. So there's there's a balance to staying behind someone, and I'm not I'm not great at deciding how far back I should be. I just try and get as close as possible. Very, very simple when it comes to making that decision. But this looks like it might be a reasonable time to, unless I'm gonna like wreck out. But I was gonna say, seems like a reasonable time to kind of cut. We'll jump ahead to when things get interesting. CJ gaining on me, Sebastian putting time on me, so about a second and a bit more between all of us, but I will come back as we get close to something or if something interesting is about to happen. See y'all soon. Okay, so pit stops are almost all done. Matthias and Tyson came out about 3 seconds ahead of me. Tyson, not enjoying these first few laps on the primary tires. I am gaining a bit of time on them. We're within a second now, so we'll see how that plays out going forward. I do have 4 push-to-passes to Tyson's 7, so I'm not going to burn any right now to try and gain more time on the straight. I'm going to try and just keep things going through the rest of the track, but I certainly will use one, even though Tyson can always cover that, which is a bummer situation to be in, but within a half a second right now. It's very interesting, some weaving going on. Come on. I'm gonna gain time no matter what. We can both lose like a half a tenth through weaving, or we can just kind of push it. Tyson has been very respectful to everyone racing so far, so we'll see how this goes, and we'll see where we're gonna come out with who was behind us, Sebastian, as they are coming out of the pits as well. Was that Sebastian ahead? Did Sebastian make... Oh, Sebastian is behind. Okay. But on the alternate tires, so we need to make up some time because Sebastian was obviously very fast when those alternate tires were really in the right temperature range early on. So within a second and a half, I do expect Sebastian to catch up. So need to push it here to try and maintain that gap. Come on, let's just get the draft, man. Tyson, like, you probably want me to have the draft to keep Tyson from kind of catching it. But we'll see where this all goes. Matthias still quite far ahead. Chad still a bit far ahead. Chad just came out as well on those primary tires, 6 seconds ahead, so made a little bit of time up on everyone up to second place. I am concerned about Sebastian behind. They can easily kind of catch us and join this battle, and I don't want to be fighting with them, so I don't want to have to burn a push to pass to get ahead, but Sebastian has 8, so Sebastian in a really great position to close that 1.5 second, 1.8 second gap, just using push to pass on the straightaway, like, and, you know, even having been slower, but Sebastian will not be slower. Sebastian will be putting up faster laps than I will, undoubtedly, and I expect some push to pass usage to take advantage of the speed Sebastian can carry through corners and where it's all going to end up. I just am fortunate enough to have the draft right now with Tyson, so we'll see how that all plays out as well. Whew. It's going to be an interesting race, so I do need 62 liters to finish this race out. I think I'll stay on the primary tires. No, I think I'm going to switch to the alternates and then just make a decision later. But let's get on a straight before we change anything. Running a little wide there. Stay on the track. Stay on the track. There we go. Okay. Making through this corner. Bringing a little bit too much speed. Going out too wide. That's going to slow me down a lot. Sebastian should close a few tenths up with that. So let's go down to 62 liters to add. Tyson, come on. Doesn't do too much. But Tyson will lose a little bit of time. And then that had such a shit exit there out of the hairpin. That's going to cost me more time than Tyson breaking the teeniest, tiniest amount of draft. And I already had the draft to start, so it doesn't change that much. We're still in the power. The draft is a lot more powerful as you're getting towards the top of the power band, as you're on that straight towards the end, where there's just a huge differential between the pressure on Tyson's car versus mine. Coming down that main straight, not a huge deal, but Sebastian within a second now. I need to keep the pace up. I'm going to switch to those alternate tires for the next pit stop as we get on the Ullman straight here. First goal is to just carry as much speed as possible. There we go. That's fine. Pit grabbed it a little early there, so onto alternates. All right, got the last stint set up. Sebastian making up a bunch of time. Definitely has higher downforce, as I was still gaining on Sebastian towards the end of that run. So that's going to play a lot more into Sebastian's hand. Yeah, coming there out of Sunset now, half a second behind. Tyson still further ahead. So I'm in 5th. I'd like to keep 5th place, but I'm going to have to fight for it with Sebastian and hopefully be able to defend enough that Sebastian's tires start to wear off before he can get by. But he's, wow, making up a ton of time. I kind of expect a dive here, and especially with that little wheel spin. He's not on the button like he was with CJ 20 or so laps ago. So gonna just maintain my line here, not expecting a dive, not racing in the mirrors. Let's get on the gas. Sebastian obviously gonna be able to carry a lot more speed, but did go a little bit deep in the hairpin there, probably trying to close that gap, or just, you know, we clearly have different braking points based on the tire difference there. So we'll see where this all ends up. Charles, oh, that's a bit of a bump. Charles Basio up ahead. We will meet them at some point, and they will play a role in how this race finishes out. I'm not expecting them to not let folks by, but they're pretty quick as is, so it's not like they are significantly off the pace, but it will really be interesting where we join, who we're battling with at the time that we are potentially lapping Charles. And Sebastian on the button, 4/10 behind. The draft and being on the button really going to help Sebastian through here. Not going to be able to get a pass, so I've got this. But Sebastian able to carry a lot more speed through the corner, do that higher downforce, and grip your tires. So it'll be interesting going into turn 1 here. I'm going to defend the inside. No, no, you're not. No, you're not. What?
Stay on the ride. Keep to the ride.
Okay, come on, you gotta give me room. Ben racing clean.
Clear
Go
on the
ahead,
left.
go ahead. I really wanted to pinch Sebastian there and not swing myself, but I don't think that would have been too wise. I don't know if I missed that shift or if it was the wheel. I'd like to blame that on the wheel, but I think that might have been me. I think that only would have ended in tragedy, especially since Sebastian was likely in a higher pressure situation, looking to make the pass. Already spent the push to pass to get there, and the mistake that same lap in the hairpin. I didn't want to risk it. I knew Sebastian had grip your tires, but I was the one who would lose there. If we made contact because I held Sebastian to the inside, a line Sebastian likely has never taken in practice. Like, I wouldn't expect anyone to take that line in practice unless they were explicitly expecting to get pinched there. I certainly have not taken that line in practice. So it would have been a little risky for me to throw that in with so much racing left, and especially with Sebastian being faster right now. I can try and use that to catch Tyson. Sebastian can put pressure on Tyson. Tyson just burned a push to pass. Matthias pushed to pass as well ahead of Tyson. So can use that to our advantage. But I do know, based off the last stint, so I assume, I don't know, that I will pass Sebastian here eventually. I'm a bit slower than everyone right now. A bit slower than my last stint. Not significantly, but a little. So I need to make this work and finish this race strong. I would love to be on the podium is my goal. Top 5 is definitely achievable. I can definitely do a top 5, but I have to get there. I don't get to just assume that I'll be there because I'm in 6th right now, and there are about 20 laps to go. There's a lot of racing left to do. So, ooh, I'm going deep. Let's just, yeah, okay, that was fine. Sliding the rear around. That's going to heat the rear tires slightly, but should be fine coming into the next corner here. Cunningham, turn 10? Okay, I didn't know that. Either of them. Like, I thought that was like turn 9? Yeah, 9. Because 7 is the hairpin. So, I was off by 1. I'll take it. But, don't expect too much more excitement from here. I'm just going to try and stay close to Sebastian. Want to gain on Tyson. Want to gain on Matthias. Want to gain on Chad. There's plenty of good racing here left to be done. But I am going to, yeah, catch back up when things get a little bit more interesting. Just need to keep putting up laps at this point and staying close. So, catch y'all shortly. All right, so in a tight battle here with Tyson and Sebastian. Sebastian and Tyson and myself all within 0.3 of each other. Sebastian's tires probably on their last legs before he starts to slow down a bit, especially staying close to Tyson. That's going to get interesting. We're only 2.5 seconds away from Matthias up ahead, so I have gained, and I believe Tyson and Sebastian have gained a lot of time on the third place runner Matthias. So far, I'm going to stay out of the button. Chad on the button up ahead, but still has 7 with that one, so plenty of time there. I'm going to try and let Tyson and Sebastian battle it out. I don't want to waste too much. Save a little bit of fuel there. Get back out of the clutch. I just want to stay close enough to get draft. That'll save me some fuel, and I would like them to battle. Ideally, I could come out ahead of them in the next pit stop, but I believe they have to take less fuel than me, so even if I got ahead, I think it might be a second at that point that they would gain just from coming out of the pit stop. So I am coming in on those alternate tires, coming out on the alternates. That's really going to help. Sebastian really pushing hard there to try and catch Tyson. So still keeping that gap. I'm still gaining on Matthias and Tyson, so lap over lap, you know, outside of anything going on in the racetrack, which is never true. Racing still has to occur, but purely on pace, I could catch them by the end of the race, including Chad. I could catch Chad by the end of the race if over the last 5 laps we all kept our same pace. That's not possible, and I've had drafts, so that I gotta keep that in mind. Doesn't look like we should run into anyone by the end of the race, any lapped cars, but that's still possible, especially with such a tight field right now. But this is some great racing coming into the last stint, so still need those 62 liters. How much am I putting in the car? I can't tell right now. I'll have to check. Pretty sure I left it at like whatever 62.8 or whatever is the fuel to add, and that is how much I need to add, which means I need at least 7 liters left, or maximum of like 7 liters left in the tank when I'm going to finish. Sebastian on the button, so getting alongside Tyson here. Going to be interesting. I don't think there'll be a wreck. I think everyone's going to keep it clean, but I'm going to try and hold the inside. Sebastian getting a little squirrely there, so that's going to give Tyson an opportunity to come ahead. But Tyson on those harder tires, I don't know how everyone's kind of running out of there, but Sebastian also having a higher downforce setup than at least me. Don't know where Tyson might be. They're going side by side through there. That's going to really make this tricky. I'm not going to push too hard. I'm just going to hit my normal braking line. Tyson getting very defensive there. I may have an opportunity to get past Tyson. Ooh, and Sebastian getting squirrely, so that's going to give Tyson an opportunity coming down into the hairpin. I am just going to let them battle it out. I'm going to stay on the outside. There may be some contact here. This is going to get spicy, but no, Sebastian keeping it clean. Tyson braking a little bit later, taking a deeper line so they can run too wide. This is some awesome racing. I've got the perfect view of what's going on here. I'm not really trying to interfere too much. I want to put pressure on because a mistake is going to be the easiest way I can gain time here. But with Tyson being ahead of Sebastian, I do expect Sebastian to be the one making the mistake, especially having those worn alternate tires. So I'm going to try to carry more speed through here. Tyson going wide. Sorry, Sebastian going wide. I've got a run here. We're going to lose the draft on Tyson, but I cannot get a pass going into this section of the racetrack, or at least I'm not going to force it like some kind of asshole. So there's plenty of racing left. Let's see how it goes. But everyone really pushing hard. Tyson getting a little... He's not making too many moves. Like, he's making one and then coming back every time. So I respect that. Seen plenty of people just weave like it's the last lap of the Indy 500, which you can't do anymore, or at least you can't go as low as they were last year. But see how this race ends up. I'm just about on 3 laps remaining of fuel. It's not really going to matter. It's just going to be an extra lap of a bit worn tires on those alternates when I do come out of the pits. I'm expecting to pit in 2 laps, so this one and then one more, and go into the pits. I just don't want to lose a lot of time here behind Sebastian, but there we go. That's going to be 100% me. Come on, Sebastian holding the inside. We're both gonna lose a fuckload of time here. Just, come on, man. Okay, I'm just gonna wait.
Clear on the right.
Pull back. There we go. Okay. Sebastian pushing pretty hard to try and maintain the position. I think he may have let off there just a bit to try and bring that one around. That's totally fine. Appreciate that. A lot of really respectful racing. So if you are enjoying open wheel racing, like, please join the iRacing INDYCAR series. There were around 200 and some odd entries for this race Saturday afternoon. So excited to see how that remains, but I have only seen a few people like really be unaware of how to drive a Formula car in traffic, or super aggressive. And I think you can spot those folks pretty easily. So I got about 1 lap to go. I'm at 2 laps of fuel remaining. I could push it. I am not going to risk it. I don't think it's worth it at this point.
You've got about 2
There we go.
laps of fuel.
Yeah, there we go. The 2 laps of fuel marker. I think I can make it. Like, I think if I push it, I can make it. But I don't think there's an advantage there for me. I would, I think, rather pit this lap at the end of this lap, grab those alternate tires, try and put some fast laps up on my out lap. Sebastian off behind me. That's going to help build a gap on this, my in lap, and then maintain that gap on my out lap. Not going to be able to catch Tyson by the end of this. That's fine. I don't need to catch Tyson because I would like to be able to go alongside Tyson or have like warmed up tires
1.4
and be
seconds.
able to defend against Tyson potentially when Tyson pits in 2 or, yeah, it's probably 2 more laps for Tyson to come in. And I'm not sure what tire they will be on, but if I'm on those alternates, that's going to give me some great out laps. But the final laps of the race, I will be at a disadvantage if anyone else is on the primary tires. And I'll be at a disadvantage to everyone who is taking alternate tires but has less laps on them. They've taken less abuse. So we'll see how that goes, but I'll see you when I think everyone comes out of the pits and we're going into those last laps. So catch you later. Bye. Okay, Tyson is in the pits. Tyson's coming out of the pits. Let's see where they are. I think that's them ahead.
Car behind you, pitting.
Or is that them ahead right there? And it was Matthias in front of them. That's correct. It was Matthias in front of them. Tyson is just ahead of us, so 1.5 seconds. I didn't gain that much time. But everyone on the alternate tires. So I'm going to have 1 extra lap in them. That will help me this lap, which should help me get some draft up to Tyson. Tyson on push to pass on the straightaway. So Tyson at 4, I'm at 3. That's helpful to me. I don't think that's a great place to use push to pass, but Tyson does want to keep that draft away from me and does want to put time on Matthias. So far I'm a 1/4 second up on my fastest lap. That is helpful. There's a lot more rubber on the track. The track is only slightly hotter than it was at the start of the race, so not going to be a real impact there. Or I guess the air temp, the track temp is a little hotter, little bit hotter. But I just want to put up some good laps. Don't want to abuse these tires. Do have Ellis Spice up ahead, so 7 laps on them. That's going to be impactful, but Ellis has been great at letting folks by. I don't know what happened with Ellis's race, but really appreciate how they are driving as a car off the lead lap. That is what you want to see. Looks like Ellis letting us both. I hope it's both, but definitely letting Tyson by. I don't know if Ellis is gonna be willing to like give up all that time to let me by. Kind of like, okay, I get it. I might have done the same thing. I'm not gonna lose that much time here, but I am just gonna hold the inside.
Left side.
That's fine. I'm not gonna sweat that. I'm still 1.2 seconds to Tyson. Still put up my fastest lap ever. So let's just keep
Car behind you,
the
pitting.
race going. Woo! I did not feel like I was gonna make that. Oh gosh. I think I'm just too used to the primary tires. Maybe I need to just send it harder than I am. Tyson send it, like, that's what I'm looking to avoid. Tyson hit the curb there on the exit, so losing a little bit of time coming down here, and that's could be critical. It's going to be an interesting last handful of laps bringing this race home. Tyson getting a great run through the hairpin there, much better than I did. So we'll see how this all ends up. This is going to be really, really interesting. Should have... Okay, so CJ's 8 seconds behind. Where is Sebastian? Sebastian should be coming to the pits this lap. So, Sebastian was about a second and a half behind me. I have put up laps on fresher, soft compound tires, where Sebastian was running on older soft compound tires. Should be putting up slower laps, he should be putting up slower laps than I have. Just based off how it works. So I should be getting the undercut here, but we'll see. Like a lot can happen. I'm clearly putting up slower laps than I would have expected to at this point. The tires are wearing a bit. I am throwing them in. They're still fast laps. They are not slow, but I would like to be running a bit faster. Sebastian's still out, so Sebastian putting up some great fuel save runs as well. Probably getting a lot of good lift and coast. Might be running in alternate maps. But this race will be finishing up soon enough. And I'm excited to see where we all end up. Tyson and Matthias like pulling away. I'm bummed about that. Like I'm not gonna lie. I have been putting better time on them, regardless of tire compound, later in the lap, later in the race. So we'll see how that goes. It's Tom Campbell 3 just put the fastest lap. Behind us in P12, current P12. Everyone's not done their pit stop yet, so this will not be the finishing order. 8th is not the place we will finish in. We are currently, if nothing has shaken up, P5 on track. Or P5 when everything shakes out. We're P8 on track. So that's good. That's where I started on the grid. That is where... Ooh, come on. There we go. There we go. Ah, come on. Oh, wow. Never mind. P1. Matt Taylor just set up a blazing lap. So Chad and Sebastian are in the pits. So let's see how this plays out. I'm losing time to Matthias and Tyson. I'm hoping that comes back. Like I said, I have been putting up faster laps later in the stints, but there's a lot of time to make up here just to be in the battle with 10 to go. We are at 10 to go. So let's see what goes. I believe that was Sebastian just coming out of the pits, so gonna be a bit behind us, so that's great. I'm going to just hope that that gap kind of remains for my own good. I would love a good battle. Like I don't mind a good battle. By 3 seconds to Tyson, he's putting up so much time. So now that the pits have shaken out, there's quite a bit of time left. I'm gonna let y'all go until something more exciting happens, and we'll rejoin, at least with a few laps to go, no matter what. So catch y'all in a bit. Alright, so Sebastian right behind me by half a second. Higher downforce, but he is on the button. I am not. I bet Sebastian gets by going into turn number 1. So we're going to be at 6 to go at the line. Yeah, it's a really bad run. A sunset for me. Sebastian holding the inside there. I'm going to just defend the inside like last time. Going to drift wide with Sebastian and then simply take the corner to try and defend there. I think Sebastian's going to be able to get by. Bringing a lot more speed. I'm just going to slow down. I don't want to pinch him too much. Let's just get through this complex. Okay, there we go. Ran a little deep there, but Sebastian keeping a lot more speed with these tires than I have. I've been pretty slow on the alternates, so like lesson learned. I should have put for one more practice in so that I would understand which tires I wanted to switch to. That should not have been a decision I made in the car. It's something I should have understood before starting this race. But the alternates just are falling off harder than I would have expected. I've spent too much time on the alternates in traffic, so that wasn't easy to assess how they would work. I need to run just some clean laps and understand the differences between the tires, so that will definitely be done before we go to the next road course. But at this point, it looks like I'm finishing 6th if I can't get back ahead of Sebastian. I know Sebastian, the tires fell off, but that was close to the end of the race. Like, I think at this point I'm going to struggle to keep pace with Sebastian. What will be interesting is Sebastian catching Tyson 3.5 seconds ahead and me trying to maintain that pace. So yeah, Sebastian's carrying a lot more speed. That higher downforce setup really coming into play and helping Sebastian out here. So I'm not going to be fighting Sebastian. I will see y'all in a handful of laps as we are finishing up. But yeah, see you then. All right, we will be at 2 to go at the line, so we're about 2.5 laps to go. Sebastian has made a few minor mistakes that has allowed me to catch up in the previous laps. So we both have 2 push-to-passes remaining. That was a mistake on my part, so I'm going to lose some speed there. Sebastian on the push-to-pass. I was wrong. I have 3. So that's going to be really helpful for me to get ahead of Sebastian. I now have more than Sebastian does. It does look like 5th place is about the highest I'm going to be able to get without an incident ahead. We do have Mike up ahead. About a lap and a half we should be battling with Mike. Mike has been great at letting folks by, so I'm not really expecting a lot there, but that is, I'm a little bummed. Like, you don't want to have to deal with that going into the last laps, but there's nothing, like, it's not Mike's fault. That's not anyone's fault. That's just where the cards laid out. I've now lost a lot of time to Sebastian here, so that's not great. I have those 3 push-to-passes. I'm going to use the first one. Oh, I've been in map 2 as well. I've had to save fuel. I'm gonna push it. I am going back down into map 1, so it's gonna give me a little bit higher end on the car, on the straightaway. So, little wheel spin there. I think I saved that. Tyson getting caught up behind Mike. That's not great. We're still not going to be able to catch Tyson, but we are going to catch Mike in a trickier part of the track. There goes Sebastian off a little, diving a little deep. Mike letting us both by. Thank you. Didn't want to pinch him there. Quite an exciting part of the race there. Okay, lap and a half to go. 6/10 behind Sebastian. I bet we both use push to pass here. I am going to use it, and I'll probably use it again. I mean that, ugh, God, no, I'm gonna lose time. Okay, I just don't wanna cut track. Tires are too beat up to really do that, so 1.2 seconds to Sebastian. Sebastian saving that push to pass. So let's see what I can gain. Is that going to be 2/10 or just 1? You need to carry that speed through. Okay, braking late, don't wanna brake too late. I wanna put pressure on Sebastian, but we are on the last lap. I could get on the gas here. I want to be close. Chad and Matthias within a half second of each other as well, so that's going to be interesting. A lapped car right behind me on fresher tires, fresh alternate tires. So, Sean, I get you are battling someone 2 seconds behind you, but please, let's see where this goes. Sean did battle Sebastian and I coming out of the pits, so I am on push to pass here, even though I've said before it's not a great place to do it. Sean on push to pass? Okay. Let's see where this goes. Okay, let's bring that around. So Matthias and I both have 1 push to pass remaining. Sean on push to pass again. I'm not going to have to defend against a lapped car, am I? Yep, okay. I don't know what you're trying. I'm trying to battle someone ahead. Like, don't.
Keep to the right. Still there, hold your line. Clear on the left.
I don't know what Sean wants me to do. I'm now battling them instead of Sebastian. I get... They have some fresher tires. They're fine with Mike behind. There's plenty of room. They have plenty of push to pass. Like, use the push to pass when you can definitely make the pass. Don't use the push to pass to force an incident going into something. So I got nothing on Sebastian now. 1.6 seconds. Lost a ton of time there. I don't know that I would have caught Sebastian anyway, but I'm a little frustrated both by when we came out of the pits. Oh, and there's a spin. See, that's what's going to cost Sean battling with Mike there. That's unfortunate. Hopefully Sean can save that, but that's... Yeah, you know what? I'm fine with 6 there. Sebastian, Tyson, Chad, Matthias all really pushed their cars well. They had a great end of that race. I will keep Sean's aggression in mind in future races, but I do understand why they
Congrats,
were
Matt.
pushing as hard as they could. Anyway, thank you all for sticking around. The camera's over here now. Thank you all for sticking around. I will catch
Take it easy,
y'all
man.
in the next one. Bye.